What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jack, and today I'm back with another video. You guys read the title for this video, The Densities of Consciousness. Now, it sounds a little confusing, but if you stick with me, we're going to go through all of this and you're going to find out something very influential. Okay, so let's get started. Now, this is not the same thing as the scale of consciousness from last video, okay? This is the densities of consciousness. Densities of consciousness, what is that? A good way to think about it for me is a map of the universe, okay? A map of the universe, or you could say the soul's journey from the very beginning of the soul, from like the smallest molecule or particle, all the way up to intergalactic civilizations, okay? So here we have the densities of consciousness. Let's get started. So starting off with level 1, or what we call as first density, if you're new to this, you can think of this as level 1, okay? Density 1, level 1, if that makes it easier, okay? Level 1 is the 4 elements. We have air, fire, water, and earth, okay? And it's specifically actually in this progression from air as the first element of the 4, all the way to earth as the top layer, okay? So what's interesting is everyone here watching this video was a air molecule at some point. At some point, we were all molecules of air, O2, right? After we go through the air progression, we move into fire. From fire, we go into water, and from water into earth. Earth is sort of the bridge from the level 1 first density here to the second density. Now, first density is also the density of being. It's the level of being. It's basically where the creator, God, or the soul learns just to be. It doesn't have to do anything. It's not trying to figure anything out. It's literally just, it's just there. It's just being. This is the hallmark of the first density, okay? Because before we can do any of this, before you can have love or unity or anything, first you just must first exist, okay? So it's really being and existence is density 1, level 1, okay? Moving on into the second density, level 2, if you want to think of it. Level 2, or density 2, is the density of growth. This one's interesting because it's the level of plants and animals. The entire animal kingdom is second density, okay? So, and what's very interesting is we can literally see the exact transition from first to second density, okay? From earth. The highest point of first density, like I said, is earth. That's the soil. As soon as grass starts forming out of the soil, that is now second density. That is the bridge between level 1 and level 2. So level 2, second density, is the bottom phase of level of density 2 is plants. So grass, maybe above grass, and you get to plants. Above plants, get to trees. And after tree, I think tree is the transition, the highest level of plant. After that, God, or the creator or source, whatever you want to call it, then becomes an insect. And the insect is the first level in the animal kingdom. It goes from insects, to frogs, small fish, stuff like that, then into raccoons, and all the way through the animal kingdom to the highest evolved form of animal, which is dog and cat, okay? Dogs and cats are the peak of second density. And it makes sense that when we get to third density, level 3, we adopt dogs and cats as our pets. And it makes sense because they're the highest evolved form of second density, okay? And it's very interesting because if you have a dog or a cat now, at some point, they're going to become a human being, because this is a continuous progression, right? All of us here were air at some point. All of us here were fire. We were all water. We were all earth. We were all the 4 elements at one point. And if you're a human watching this video, third density right here, you've successfully made it through first and second density. So congratulations, I would like to say, okay? Now moving from second to third density, which is where we are right now. Third density, the level of the human, is the density of the choice. It's the choice level. Remember, I didn't write this on the board, but it does help to remember that first density is being, growth for second density, and then the choice for third. This is the level of the choice where we choose between the positive and the negative polarity, okay? And that's a video for another day. We'll get to that in a different video, but stick with me here, okay? Now, something interesting I have written on the board here is the veil of forgetting, okay? The veil of forgetting. What does that mean? Think of, say when a woman gets married, she has a veil. If she wears a veil on her wedding dress, it makes it harder to see. So we can think of it as veils make things harder to see. In third density, we go through what's called the veil of forgetting because it makes it harder to see that we are immortal souls on a continuous journey. That's one of the things about this place here, this place on Earth, third density, is we all think this is it, right? Like, oh, I don't know where I was before, I was born, like, how did we get here, and stuff like that. And the reason we don't remember any of our past lives or parallel lives is because of the veil of forgetting, where we literally are wiped that memory because God wants to have the most authentic experience possible, okay? That's generally what the teaching is in this whole thing here, is it makes it harder to remember where we truly came from. And that's because the Creator wants to have the most authentic experience as possible. Now, I didn't make the rules. I'm not saying I want that or that's what I, would choose, but that's where we find ourselves in this time and space right now. So it's kind of interesting to become aware of that. Now, this is very interesting. We're moving from third to fourth density, which is the next level. From third density to fourth density, we're moving towards unity, okay? We're moving towards love. Love and unity are the hallmarks of fourth density, okay? Now, again, this is very helpful to kind of point us in the right direction here, is there's a lot of separation on our planet, right? We have war. We have a divide between political parties, Democrat and Republican. There's a division there. There's separation. Oh, if you're a Democrat, you hate Republicans. Republican, then you hate the Dems, hate the Democrats, right? And what I would advise is see if you can look through that illusion of separation. That, this person's my enemy, and we go against each other. What's more powerful and more accurate to reality is we're really all on the same team. At the end of the day, we're really all on the same team here. And that's something that's really going to help you move through this level that we're in here in third density, is love and unity, okay? And it's just kind of interesting to look at what the progression is from here. This isn't just it. This isn't just our only lifetime here on Earth. We have many, many lifetimes ahead of us. So let's take a look at where we're going. Boom. Fifth density here. Fifth density we have is the density of wisdom. And this is where angels start to come in. Okay, this is super, super dope right here. Angels and demons in the fifth density is what I believe to be happening. This is kind of like what the channeled work came in, and I'm gonna get through what the channeling, what all of this means. If you stick with me right here, okay? Fifth density, the density of wisdom. This is where angels start to form in, and sometimes with angels, there's they're not real, or it's some kind of religious stuff, angels, it's just made up or whatever. Demons, it's just made up. And what I'm going to share with you is that these are actual real entities. These are real beings from kind of more advanced levels than we are. And it's not to say that they're better than us, because I will debunk that entire paradigm right now. To think that one level is better than the other or not as good as another one. There is some there's some merit to that, right? There's some merit to that. But at the same time, without air, without the basic component of the level 1, we wouldn't survive. Without water in the first density here, we wouldn't survive. Without fire to cook our food, we wouldn't survive. So don't be so quick to judge another density as or level as beneath you or above you, right? It's all one. It's all one being just working its way through everything in creation, okay? So moving on from 5th density, the density of wisdom, which correlates with the throat chakra, by the way. And by the way, these all do correlate with each chakra, where if you notice from my chakras video, red for the root chakra is being right here. And then we have orange, the 2nd density of growth for the sacral chakra. 3rd density, the density of the choice, is the solar plexus chakra. Love unity for the 4th density. That's the heart chakra, right? The heart, where we experience love. See, it all lines up. It all kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Wisdom for the throat chakra right here. And then we have 6th density. Very interesting one right here, which would be the 3rd eye of psychic vision, you might say. 6th density is the density of balance between love and unity. It's the balance of love and unity is the 6th density, because with love, sometimes you can become sort of blind. You might not be able to see things clearly because you may be so the typical kind of way we think about it is martyrdom, where you would sacrifice your life or something like that for love, which is a very noble thing to do, but it's not always like the smartest thing. It's not always the best thing to do in terms of the best thing for you and the best thing for all of life itself. So that's where wisdom, balance kind of, tips the scales between love and then the wisdom of, doing what's best for yourself with the collective goal in mind. Now I do have something written here called Ra, R-R-A, Ra. What is Ra? This is very interesting. I feel like I say that all the time, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Ra is a 6th density being that was channeled in the 1980s by a group of researchers in a book known as The Law of One. Okay, The Law of One. If you want a super in-depth version of everything that you're seeing here, I would pick up that book. It's called The Law of One, and there's other YouTubers on YouTube that are kind of talking about the Law of One and laying out this density in their own way as well. And Aaron Abke is a great channel that I would recommend, where I learned most of this from. Aaron Abke, go check him out if you want, but I'm making the video for myself because I like to take it from higher, from an idea, and you bring it down into the body and you kind of speak it out. Makes you more aligned with the information. So that's why I'm making this video, and for people that I know that don't know about this, to share it to those people as well. All right, 6th density, Ra, balance, like I told you about, and archangels, right? Archangels are actual real entities, which is really kind of us in the future. It's us in the future, okay? 6th density archangel. And it's interesting because we don't really hear about archdemons. You would think, well, if archangels could be real, so could archdemons, right? The thing is, and you'll learn if you kind of read this material yourself, is the negative polarity, which is demons. Think of, when I say negative, think of darkness. Think of pure black, the void darkness. That's the negative polarity. Whereas the opposite of that, the light, or the positive polarity, is the light, right? Angels, freedom, light, God. That's the positive polarity, okay? There are almost two sides of the same coin. However, once you do make it to 6th density here, the creator, or God as we might say, in the spiritual community, we typically do say the creator instead of God, because you can say God, like it's the same thing. It means the same thing, but people there's the stigma around God and religion. So in the spiritual community, you might hear the creator. It means the same thing as God, though. The creator, or God, will not allow a soul to move past early 6th density on the negative polarity. on the service to self negative dark path. Once that occurs, once you make it to early sixth density as a negative being, you are kind of at a halt. There's no way to move forward because you've kind of exhausted all of the life at that point. And if you read the book, you'll find more of this information. At that point, you will have to go back to fourth density and switch your polarity to positive, to the positive polarity. And for general context, most people and most beings in the universe are actually positive entities. We are actually service to others, positive oriented. In the book, it says about 90% of beings in the universe are service to others oriented. And it's like, well, how the hell do we know that? And what I'm trying to share with you is there are more advanced civilizations, there are more advanced entities in the universe, in our galaxy right now, like as we speak. Okay, this is the whole point of this video here, is that there's a lot more going on than what most people realize. And it's actually amazing, very wonderful. And I would encourage you to look beneath the surface and don't just believe everything you're told right off the jump. And what I've learned is, kind of the universe is always much more amazing than we typically kind of think it to be. It's always way more magical than we could ever realize. Now, it's continuing to move through here. Seventh density, as we have at the end, is, as you can see, there's a question mark, right? Because the channeling that we did with Ra right here was a sixth density entity, and because they're sixth density, they don't really know much about seventh density. They haven't been there. They're kind of working with, I've heard they're working with their seventh density masters, which sounds like the dopest thing ever. But that's a story for another day. The point of this video is that we are eternal. Not a physical body, but our soul. Our souls are immortal. So try not to be so afraid all the time. Try not to be so afraid of death, pretty much just death, because all fears come from that fear of death. So that's about it for this video, guys. Hope you learned a lot. If you want to learn more, get the Law of One yourself, and maybe follow Aaron Abke on YouTube and stuff like that. But that's it for this video, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm out.